Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Sweet 39 Podcast, a space for honest conversations with women navigating life, career, identity, and all the transitions that come with it. One of the reasons I started this podcast is because I think many of us reach our late 30s realizing that we have spent years focused on surviving, building careers, moving countries, taking care of people, figuring out life, and sometimes money planning was never really a priority. I'm 39 right now, and I can honestly say that for most of my adult life, I didn't have a clear financial strategy. I worked hard, I made things happen, but I wouldn't say I had a plan. And I know I am not alone in that. So today I wanted to have a very honest conversation about money, not from a place of shame or panic, but from curiosity and possibility. My guest today is Stephanie Olano. Stephanie is a trauma of money certified specialist and a California based financial trauma coach. She helps people understand the emotional and psychological side of money and support them in building financial systems that actually work for their brain, for their income pattern, and for their nervous system. Her work focusing on helping people identify and heal their relationships with money so they can move away from financial anxiety and start building a healthier financial future. Thank you so much, Stephanie, for being here, and welcome to the podcast.
No, thank you so much for having me, and thank you so much for a lovely intro. Yeah, when someone else says it, you're just like, whoa, like I do all that. But no, like I just love the way that you framed it, and yeah, just thank you so much for having me be a part of this.
Of course, I'm so happy that I found your profile, that I learned about your work because it's like so special, niched, and necessary. If you could just like start from there, like how did you become like, how did you niche your work? How did you find this path, and what exactly do you do?
Yeah, so a lot of folks know this about me. My day job is actually as a mental health therapist. I am a licensed marriage and family therapist here in California. Been doing this over 10 plus years. But the thing that kept coming up during the pandemic was I have financial trauma. I have financial anxiety. I don't know what the hell I'm doing with money. And I was like, I have no idea how to talk to you about that. Like I have no training in how to talk to anyone about finances. And I did the normal thing, or what I thought was normal was, I think you need to talk to your accountant. I think you need to talk to your banker. Or you need to, and so I would help folks like build the confidence to talk to these quote unquote professionals or experts. But the thing that always kept coming up was, I'm about to have a panic attack and I don't know how to manage that. Or I don't know how to frame this question without losing my words. Because I work with a lot of neurodivergent folks. It was like, okay, I had to give so much psychoeducation. And all of the material I was finding for financial coaches or, how to best build a strategy about finances, I was like, there's a missing piece here. They're not talking about the mental health side. They're not talking about the nervous system. It's not neurodivergent friendly in a lot of
Uh-huh.
cases, or it's not built for women like us who come from BIPOC or even just women in general.
Yeah.
So I was like, because it's me, my personality, whenever I don't see something out there, I create it. Like I
Yeah.
find and do the research. I figure out what curriculum or what education I need and just build the thing myself. And
Yeah.
that's where Awkward Money came about.
Yes, and I'm glad you created it because we definitely need it. So I'm 39, as I mentioned in the opening, and I can't say that I never like have a real financial strategy in my life. I was mostly focused on making things work, which I did.
Yeah.
How common is like this type of story with your clients?
So common. I think, honestly, it's just the norm. I think for a
Hmm.
lot of women, especially BIPOC women, we're just not taught financial strategy. It's not in any high school curriculum. It's not a class you take at college unless you're going into accounting.
Hmm.
And really, I think given our experience, like a lot of us, especially children of immigrants, we were just taught like how to survive with money, how to stretch it, how to build a budget, but came from a place of resiliency and necessity. It didn't come from, this mindset of, well, we need to build a budget to invest or build generational wealth or, plan a long-term type of plan. It all just came from like paycheck to paycheck, especially living here in the Bay Area you know?
Yes.
So a lot of us, especially women of color, especially immigrants, first gen, to like third gen or what I call like third culture kids, we were just trying to stabilize our life.
Yeah.
And living in a capitalist society, that involves money. So paying our bills, helping family, navigating careers, dealing with student debt, we were just trying to stay afloat.
Yeah.
So learning financial systems or financial strategy, that didn't really come with all of this baggage.
How do we change that mindset, Stephanie? Because it comes like, I think when we start to realize that we didn't had a plan this far, it comes with a lot of guilt and shame. And I don't want to even look at it, right? Because I know it's not good and I don't know how to get started. How do we move from the mindset of I survived till now, but I can change. I can start changing it.
Yeah. So whenever I hear something along the message of like, I never really had a financial strategy, I don't know these things, I blame myself, why didn't I learn it sooner? I don't hear failure. And I try to emphasize that to my clients like, you didn't mess up, you didn't make a mistake. This just shows like all of this experience, it's just more evidence that, again, you were trying to survive in a
Yeah.
system that wasn't designed for you. You never were taught these things. And it's not too late. It's not too late to learn these things. And it can actually be very powerful to just look at your intention and look at why is this important to you now? Because that is going to help you figure out like what is within my power, what is within, my purview, and how do I move from this place I'm in that I've been stuck in for many, many years now, may have been like for you and your family, like many generations. How do I just take a step forward?
What would be like? Let's talk like practical stuff. Like, what would be the first step, Stephanie? I realized today. I know like a lot of women are listening and having this realization of like, okay, like I'm sure we get here and if you are on TikTok at some point you heard someone giving you some advice, and I think it's like, thank goodness we are having like more women talking about it and saying like you are not alone. We have like we are here and we are together and you don't have to do it alone. um where should we always start? Like, what would be like a concrete first step if you want to start really like looking into your finances?
So I always emphasize like awareness. So if you are aware like there's probably a problem here, I
Yeah.
probably should get help. Great. And when someone meets me, it's like, all right, so we're aware that something's off. Can we apply that awareness to like what's going on internally? Like whether it's the nervous system, your thoughts or feelings, what you're actually experiencing. Like, can we find a way to maybe we need a journal, maybe we need to write that down somehow, but we need to figure out like what is actually happening to you, your nervous system, your body, your mind, whenever money is in the picture.
Yeah.
And from there we can start to kind of figure out like if it's something like having a panic attack, if it's something like my thoughts just I can't keep track of them, I don't know what's happening, or I just lose myself in this whole money thing. That's where we can kind of figure out like how do we get you out of that state and help you find safety, help you find some type of whether it's stabilization or
Yeah.
just some sanity, or a little bit of a break. That is the great first step of like moving away from this judgment to like, okay, how do I get more curious on where to find the solution from there?
How does because that's the work you do with awkward money. I want to also give like people a path, because I think it's so important when we realize that we want to look into it. We find like a problem. We know we have a situation that we want to deal with it. I think it's really mess up when we find the wrong people on our path, and and then it happened to me. I remember at some point I had like a bunch of credit card debt, and I'm like, I have to start paying it. I need help, because I know there is a strategy, like I'm not the only one. And I met with a coach, and when I told her like the numbers, I'm like, this is what it looks like right now. And then she just like cover her head and shake her head and like, oh my God. And like, how did you get here? And I'm like, listen, I don't even know, but what I know is that I don't need judgment right now. So I think like finding the right people to help you out, it's so important to have like this first contact from a place of it's okay. It's gonna be okay. Like more anxiety won't help things. So can you tell me a little bit about awkward money and how is the work that you do and how people can
Yeah.
reach out and expect to work with you?
So the reason I mainly call it awkward money is I don't promise you to be like really confident about money. I don't promise this whole like when you take my courses or you meet with me, you're going to be like badass and never, be like always neutral or stoic about money. It's
Yeah.
something different. It's like we're all going to be a little awkward. We're all going to be a little weirded out by money because it is this thing that impacts our life. Like this is how we pay bills. This is how we pay for food. Maybe we send money back home to folks or, outside of the country and it has a huge impact on our lives. So there's going to be parts of us that are like, ooh, I feel weird. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like a certain
Yeah.
way about this money thing. I just help you build the tolerance to that. So it's not, you're not stuck. You're not in this place of like, I can't make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
You're able to walk this life as, okay, I know I'm aware of like my weird feelings with money, but I can at least make a decision. I at least have a way to like get out of this feeling and just again move forward.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of us, that's a strange concept because we're just here like just overwhelmed.
Yeah. 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 And I think like comparison too, right, Stephanie? Because I notice now that we live in this like such a connected world, which is amazing. But then it comes with like we start comparing ourselves with other people's story that we hear on whatever social media we're at, and we are talking like from the Bay Area,
Hmm.
right? And like once like the reality of people who live here to make a living, it's like it's so different from
Yeah.
whoever lives in wherever else in the US. And then on top of that layer, right, where you are located, where you come from, what is your reality about money? As you said, like a lot of us are sending money back home. A lot of us have a plan here and have like came to study and notice that it's like, wow, I didn't know it would cost that much. I think it's really important for us like to see like where we are at and stop comparing ourselves to whatever other reality people are presenting online as well.
Yeah, 'cause you brought up a good point. Our perspective here in the Bay Area is like no other. Like you go anywhere else in the state, like not even outside of California, but
Yeah.
just outside of the Bay Area, yeah, your money will go a little bit further.
Yeah.
But if you're wanting to maybe because of work or school or the opportunities here in the Bay and you want to stay here, yeah, it's a struggle. Like we're hearing stories of people who make six figures or close to $1 million who are like, I'm struggling.
Yeah.
Like I can barely afford to buy a house. How is the rest of the nation doing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, exactly. So I think it's important always just like where we are at, like our look, like everything. It's really like we have to look into like our own reality and stop comparing ourselves and to be realistic, right? Because whenever I say discussion about money and people say that their salary here compared to I don't know their salary in like Texas and and then New York and it's like these are completely different realities and the amount of money that I'm saving 50% of my salary, I'm like good for that reality. If you live in a place that is as expensive as we are in the Bay Area, that's tough, that's hard. So what are like thinking of, even though like we have like these different scenarios and different realities, what are like small steps that we could start, someone could start doing just to start changing their reality, just to start seeing like some different results on their financial life?
Yeah, so what I normally start with is we really have to look at the numbers. Like we
Mm-hmm.
really have to understand your cash flow. We really need to have a better understanding what money is coming in. And from there, yes, building a financial system, but just it goes deeper than that. It's not just what money goes out. I think
Mm-hmm.
people just kind of end the conversation there, like money comes in, money goes out, and that's it. We have to dig deeper and understand, like, okay, when your money's coming in, are we okay with how we make money? Are we
Mm-hmm.
the what we do for income or what we do for a job? Like, does that align with our core values, or are we kind of burnt out or just kind of fed up with work? And do we need to build a more self care? type of system. And that's
Yeah.
why like money, like whenever money comes into our bank account, are we not getting energetic? Is it actually depleting us the way that we make money? When we spend money, are we spending money on things, again, that align with our core values? Or are we just spending money just to spend money because it's a quick dopamine fix and it's just a symptom of something that's much bigger than
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, this is a shiny thing. I just want to buy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Um, is there, and like again, here living in the society that we are right now, and every time we are like with our phones on our hands all the time, and it seems like impossible to do
Hmm.
anything on your phone without having an offer,
Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah.
like it's the simplest thing to do. It's like to to just buy something that you don't need, because it seems like every scroll that I do, like two scrolls, one sale, right? One offer.
Yeah.
Our brain is like, it's insane.
And this is where, again, I teach my clients that, like, capitalism, if it had a real choice, it would
Hmm.
keep you in this very almost dystopian, disconnected, very burnt out, very sad place because you buy more stuff. You
Yeah.
spend more money when you're in this very lonely place. You know, if I'm disconnected from my family or if I'm disconnected from all sorts of community, if I really do feel desperate and depressed and just upset and so angry with the world, but I don't have access to mental health or medical care or anything that can help me feel better long term, guess what? I'm going to go to the, whether it's Target or Walmart, get something that makes me just happy just for 5 minutes, and
Yeah.
that's all I get. Yeah, that prompt, that email or whatever is coming up on your phone, that's very tempting.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so what I try and have my clients understand is like we have an uphill battle. You know, capitalism really really wants your money,
Hmm.
but how do we break away from that and establish more, again, long-term self-care solutions so we're not just another customer? We actually find things that give us that same dopamine, make us feel a little bit better, but it's not always buying at this particular store. If it's buying, let's buy from a small business. Let's buy from like handcrafted stuff so it's not adding to, our waste situation. How do we invest in more businesses that we actually see ourselves in or actually want to support? You
Yeah.
know, because Jeff Bezos don't really need our money, but why do we keep buying stuff from him only? You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. And we were talking earlier about community, right? Like, I think, how do you see the importance of finding community? Because, like, from my perspective, I also think as a Latina, society, people, whoever wants to keep me in a box of not knowing,
yeah.
of like not belonging to. Um, be the investment world, be talking about investment, be like knowing about how easy it can be invest if I have a little money, how I don't need to keep my money. That is like, I don't need to keep my money at home in my shoebox under my
Hmm.
bed anymore. That is okay. That is safe, right? I think like, and then when we see community, when we surround ourselves with people from the same reality, who are like trying to change things, to build something different, I think it shows us that it is possible, right? It's like the information is out there and it's there for us as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think for a lot of us, like, and the reports keep coming out with this, like millennials, especially as we get closer to 40s to like
Hmm.
50s, we're actually like kind of stabilizing with money. Like for a lot of us came of age during the 2008 recession,
Hmm.
and guess what? Not a lot of people are making money. Like unless like you were in tech or you made an app that was like huge. So for a lot of us, like we felt behind for many decades. Now going into our 40s and 50s, like we're able to say like, oh, okay, I'm not just surviving. I'm actually
Hmm.
able to save more. I'm actually I can afford to invest a little bit. Some of us are even buying homes and building long-term investments in that way. So it totally makes sense why a lot of us have to have this almost negotiation of like, it's okay to spend.
Hmm.
It's okay
Yeah.
if I'm not just buying stuff that's based on necessities, or every once in a while I can splurge a little bit more. I'm
Mm-hmm.
hearing from my clients that like they just feel bad about spending money on themselves, or it's not going to something that's more productive or for
Mm-hmm.
more of a safety net. And I'm like, you are human. You are
Yeah.
supposed to have interest. You're supposed to have passions. You're supposed to, and some of those things cost money.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
all have to be responsible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I the other thing I noticed is like this idea that you have to be part of this traditional career path, or you have to be part of if you are if you're a nanny, if you are a gardener, if you are a cleaning lady, that's not for you.
Mm.
As if your money has a different weight. And then as a Brazilian, and I see like in my community, like a diversity of people who are working from at Facebook, who are creating their cleaning companies, and they are managing their teams. And I think like we also need to work on our self-esteem, on knowing like our money is the same money as
Hmm.
like the CEO. It's the same money. It's all money, and we can invest, and you can do and achieve and get things the same way as everyone else.
I think unfortunately that comes from this idea of like the elitism that comes in money.
Hmm.
So when old money, like I'm talking like
Yeah.
Rockefeller, like this is multi generations of families who they earn money like in the 1800s, early 1900s, like when the Industrial Revolution was happening. They look at us who are like coming into new money, and they're like, no, you're not like us. Like our kids will can afford never to work, and our money will still keep growing. So there is this kind of divide
Yeah.
within the incomes of like there's new money, there's old money, and then I developed this term called then there's stupid money. Like technically it's new money, but the way you earned it is kind of dumb. Like you just stumbled by like
Uh-huh.
making an app. You were hella young and you knew someone who got you in Facebook. Like it doesn't make sense how you're making this money and you have no concept of like this is how far your money can go or how much of an impact you now have because you earn this six-figure $1 million paycheck every month.
Hmm.
So yes, our money technically should be equitable, but it's not always equal
Yes.
because of the elitism that's out there. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't strive for or have that confidence or that self-esteem you're talking about because money is money.
Hmm.
There's always going to be people out there that are going to have comments or who are going to look at us and say, you don't belong here. Too bad, I'm here. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm probably going to surpass you someday. If it's not me, it's going to be the generations after me.
Yes. Yes. 100%. Um, if you could give Stephanie like one piece of advice for a woman on late 30s navigating life right now, trying to look at her financial situation, what would that be? What should she do?
Yeah, so I think you and I have kind of mentioned financial strategy.
Yeah.
I look at startup building a system. And what I mean by that is we have to understand that like systems will still operate even if you're not motivated or have the willpower to deal with your money.
Mm,
So if you're able to automate transfers or automate, some things to go into savings, if you're able to have a way to keep track of your bills, if you're able to have a way to separate or prepare for things like taxes, even when you're like what we call in the neurodivergent community low spoon days or just have
mhm.
no energy to do anything, the system will still operate and still do its thing, even when mentally or emotionally you just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I think it's overwhelming, right? Because life, like financial, like look at our finances is like one thing of everything else that everyone is dealing with, and it's also one thing that you can automate, right? You can create a system to be there for you. So I love that that idea. Um, I Also, please share. I really want people to reach out to you and find like good community and good advice. How can people reach out and connect and schedule a coaching section with you?
Yeah, so folks can find me at awkmoney.com. That's awkmoney.com. You can also find me on Instagram. My handle's here on the little video
Mm-hmm.
here. It's at awkmoney, AWK money. And yeah, those are the best ways to reach me. I look at my DMs a lot. You can also book a session where we can do a free discovery call and see if we're a good fit. And yeah, I try to offer a lot of like blog art articles, and I'm also starting up like my YouTube channel again. So there's tons of free like resources people can check out just to get to know me and see what I'm about.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It's important to, right, Stephanie, for us like to start from that point of like f- getting to know who we want to work with to see if it's a good match, and like don't fall for the idea of miracles with anything in life, but like mainly with money, right? Like don't go buy like courses that cost like half of your savings because it's promising you to get somewhere.
Yeah. The only thing I really promise is like we're just gonna be awkward about money. We're gonna have hard conversations and
Yeah.
really get to the core of like what's been keeping you in this space where you just feel afraid or just really out of sorts or not yourself when dealing with money. And I just have people understand that that takes trust.
Yeah.
So at the very least on my end, I can promise like I will work hard to get you to open up to me and build that trust so at least you have one person in your life to talk about this weird money thing.
Awesome. Stephanie, thank you so much for this conversation. I'm sure it's just like enlightened like our path and our minds to really look with curiosity and love and non-judgmental thinking to our finances, and mainly that it's not too late to start wherever we are. So I really appreciate your time and sharing your knowledge with us.
And thank you so much for having me on here. And I'm just really excited you have this platform here. So thank you.